So you have a GoPro and now you want to go and live stream, go online, make billions and be a major influencer. Or maybe you just want to have some fun. Either way, today we're going to dive into how to go live using OBS Studio and your GoPro Hero 13. Whether you're streaming a game, a podcast, or you just want to share your adventures with the world, this setup will have you going live in no time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is DemonView. So, welcome back to the channel. I do appreciate you tuning in, and in this video we're going to look at using your GoPro Hero 13 to go live with OBS Studio. Now, let's talk about the new GoPro. It's not just a camera, it's a whole new way to share your adventures with the world. The Hero 13 does offer stunning video quality, unique perspectives, and an immersive experience that other cameras, they just can't match, especially with the interchangeable lenses and all the filming options. So whether you're mountain biking, surfing, or hosting a dynamic podcast, the GoPro gives your audience a front row seat to your adventures. So why go live with your GoPro and host a live stream? Well, going live is an incredible way to connect with your audience in real time, whether you're sharing your tales of thrilling adventures, outdoor adventures, or offering behind the scenes peeks at your creative process, or simply having like a Q&A session with your audience. Streaming builds an authentic connection with viewers. They immediately kind of get that intimate and immediate reaction with you, and it's exciting. It makes your audience feel like they're part of your journey. Plus, it's a fantastic way to grow your community, build your personal brand, create unforgettable moments that resonate long after the stream ends. So, I mean, it's a great way to connect with the people who follow you on your channel and want to get to know more about you. So, what do we need to live stream? Well, obviously, you're going to need your GoPro camera. Now, you can use like a webcam or anything like that, but let's say you have a GoPro camera, right? Might as well use it. So, you're going to need a GoPro camera, and there are two ways you can actually get a video image out of your GoPro camera into OBS Studio. Number one would be to use the media mod. Now, to get a HDMI image out of your camera, a lot of people say, well, why not just use a USB-C to HDMI converter? And well, that's because that will not work. You can spend your money on it, but I guarantee you that will not work at all, because that's not a function that's supported by the camera. So, you will need to get a media mod and pop your camera into the media mod like so. Now, for those of you that don't know, the back of the media mod, it gives you a USB-C port for power, it gives you a micro HDMI out, and it also gives you a line in for audio. But in this case, we're going to look at using the HDMI out, and what we're going to do is, oh, and I'll put all the links to this hardware on it, but we're going to get ourselves a HDMI cable. See, little HDMI cable there fits in the back of the GoPro, and that converts it to an actual full-size HDMI cable. Now, this part's optional. I use an extension cable just so I have a bit more room to play with it. And then to get the image into your PC, you're going to need some sort of capture card. Now, some people do recommend using a capture card like the Elgato 4K, and that is a good capture card, but in this case, I think it's overpriced and overpowered for what you're going to do, because the HDMI out in the GoPro Media Mod only supports a 1080p video, so why would you pay for a 4K capture card? You're not going to take advantage of that whatsoever. And I think that thing costs over $100. See this? This cost me about $10 on Amazon. It's a 1080p capture USB video device that you plug your HDMI cable into the back of. You will also need some sort of tripod to mount your camera on. In this case, I'm going to use the GoPro 3-Way version 2.0. It's got a tripod on the base. It's also a selfie stick, and you can mount your camera on the top here. It's got this little handy rotating ball that you can just lock into the position that you want. And we're just going to mount the GoPro on that. Now, using HDMI is my preferred way to do things, because that way you're actually having a native video source being captured via that capture card, and you have a lot of image adjustments there. You can brighten the image, darken the image, adjust the contrast, adjust the saturation, and all that type of thing. There is another way to do it if you don't want to invest in the media mod, a capture card, all those cables, and that is to actually download the GoPro Webcam software. Go to GoPro.com, download the Webcam app, and then just simply plug in your camera using the USB-C port on the camera, and you will get basically your GoPro acting as a webcam, or, well, kind of emulating a webcam. The problem is it's not a native webcam, so it actually only emulates basically an IP cam over a USB connection. What does that mean? Well, it means you can connect your camera to your PC with the original camera cable. That's important. I find that works best. Don't go through a USB hub, plug it straight into your PC. But because it's only emulating a camera, you don't have any image adjustment. You can pick whether you want to use like a linear, wide or medium type of lens, but that's really about it. You can't darken or brighten the image. You can't make any type of image adjustment, and that's unfortunate. So yeah, you can use the webcam app and you will get a similar image quality to using the HDMI, but yeah, I just don't recommend it. Plus, when you use the HDMI, you get the full settings on the camera itself. You can adjust all your different settings here in the back. It's still going to be a 1080p image, but at least you can adjust your ISO, your shutter speed, that type of thing, and you can get quite a better image using the HDMI version. So whatever way you connect, that's going to be entirely up to you. But for me, today, I'm going to be using the HDMI connection. So if you've now connected your GoPro to your PC, one of the things you'll want to do is go and download OBS Studio. And to do that, just go to Google, look up OBS Studio and download the version for your system, whether it's Windows or Mac, 32-bit or 64-bit. Download the appropriate version and click on Install. Now, as you can see, this is where it's going to get a bit interesting. After you download and install OBS Studio, all of this over here is going to be completely blank. These are actually the scenes that I use when I'm filming my videos. I've got different options here, but these will be blank for you because you haven't set up OBS Studio yet. So if you're using a HDMI capture card like I'm using, what you'll want to do is create a new scene. So just click on your plus icon here and name your scene, and let's go and call this GoPro HDMI, just like that, and click OK. So now that we have our scene, it's going to ask for our sources. Now if you have a nice expensive Yeti mic like I do here, the Blue Yeti, fantastic mic, absolutely recommend it. You want to click here and then add an audio input capture. And that basically is going to ask whether you want to create a new audio input capture for your new microphone or use one that already exists. I already have the Yeti set up, so I'd click on Add Existing. If you're setting this up for the first time, you're going to create a new one. And basically, whatever microphone you have plugged in there, you can even use the audio on your GoPro if using HDMI capture. If you're using it as a webcam, audio is not supported. You're going to need a separate microphone. So therefore, that's really up to you. I'm going to add an existing one, which will be the Yeti mic, and click OK. And then the next one, I'm going to click Add here again. And now we're going to add a video capture device. Now, if you've connected whether like HDMI or you've decided to use GoPro's webcam, it'll probably pop up down here when you create a new one. Let's just create a new one here. We're going to call it Test GoPro. And click OK. It's going to ask you in the next one for a source. Now, I've got my very expensive webcam up here, which is in use at the moment. USB video is what I'm going to select because that's what my HDMI capture card is. It's a USB based HDMI capture card. If you're using that, it's probably what you're going to select too. However, you also have the option of GoPro webcam if you're connecting via, USB-C. So let's say USB video. Okay, so now I've actually gone and set this up. Now the thing is, the default video mode on the GoPro will bring you into the gallery mode. You can swipe on the rear screen to actually select the camera and then just tap. And there we go. We now have the GoPro set up as an actual video source. But as you can see, the image is much darker. Now that is due to the way I have the GoPro set up. I have it, I think, actually at 60 frames per second. So we're going to do something here. We're going to try and connect via the Quick app, and we're going to see if we can adjust those GoPro settings. Now, as you can see, I've managed to improve the quality somewhat of the GoPro, but it's not fantastic, and that's basically because the GoPro has a very small image sensor and it doesn't work well in low light, but there are a few things we can do, such as increase the amount of light we have going on. The low light is basically causing this ISO noise that you see in the background, so therefore if you're going to use the GoPro indoors in a dark environment, and this is a very dark environment, you're going to want to increase the amount of light. Okay, so I've made a couple of adjustments on the GoPro, and as you can see, the image quality really has improved. Now the nice thing is, because it's attached to a cable, I can move the camera quite easily and actually do some handheld POV shots if I want. Now, there may be some discrepancy between the audio and video, and that's because the video gets prioritized and I am using a separate audio source. So if it seems out of sync, that's okay. That can actually be set up in OBS Studio. You can actually, adjust the sync and the time, delay the video a little bit and have the audio match up even better. But we're kind of going to avoid that for right now because I want to show you what settings I had to use to kind of get this type of image quality. Obviously, I had to turn on a lot more lighting here, which means now I'm going to have to readjust my proper camera settings. So right now I set the profile to GPLOG because that gives me the flattest image possible. Now, this resulted in a very, very pale image, but because I'm using an HDMI source, I was able to adjust the properties in OBS Studio. I'm obviously using a 16:9 frame instead of the whole 8:7, so we do have a bit of a digital crop here. The resolution on the camera is set to 4K. It doesn't really matter because, like I said, it's only a 1080p image coming out of it, so I could set that lower if I want. And the frame rate is 24 frames per second. The lower the frame rate, the better it is going to be in a low light environment. So I try and set this to 60 frames per second. The image is going to be a lot darker and noisier. Digital lens, linear, just because I wanted to kind of crop out some of the stuff in the background. So yeah, with linear, it stops getting that, horrible kind of warping feature or just too much stuff going on. Hyper smooth is set to off. The camera is still on a tripod. I'm not moving about. I don't need hyper smooth on. I could also plug the camera into a power source. Right now I'm running off the battery, but yeah, if I ran into a power source, that wouldn't be a problem using the settings. And let's see, anything else? Bitrate, I left it at high. I don't think it's necessary. You could actually set that to low because we're not in an action environment. There's not a lot of moving scenery. You don't need a high bitrate. Set the bitrate to low. I just forgot. I left it at high. Shutter speed I have set to auto. I probably could lock the shutter speed if I wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm just going to be talking into the camera, moving my hands. I don't think I need to lock the shutter speed. The ISO, I have it set a minimum 100 and a maximum at 200. I want that ISO speed low. If I set it to 800 or 1600, that's probably going to generate more noise than I want in the background, so I'm just going to leave that at 200. Sharpness, I've set to low. And basically, I don't want any type of artificial edge enhancement on the GoPro image coming from the camera. Denoise, I left at high, and that's because it is denoising the image that's coming from the background due to that low light. If I didn't have that on, it would probably look a bit more noisy. I mean, you can see the noise up here in the darker corner. If you do use your GoPro for this type of thing, because it's a small image sensor, you're going to want a lot of light. I have a big light mounted over here. I've got another smart bulb light over here. I've got 3 more lights here. I mean, it's quite the setup. And then the color, of course, I left at GP log. And that's it. That's the entire amount of settings that I've used for this. Like I said, the things I worry about are a bit of image noise since it's a small sensor for the GoPro, and a bit of audio lag because I don't have the microphone set up. But basically, that is how you get the image into OBS Studio from your GoPro camera. Let me just take a little shot here for you so you can see how this is all set up and what type of light I'm using. So to go live, there's a couple of ways you can do this, but one of the handiest ways to do it is to go onto your YouTube page, here's mine, and click on create. Once you do that, you can click on the go live button. Now here's the thing, you have to be eligible to go live, so I think you only need like 4 subscribers or something like that to your channel these days. It used to be like 50 or something like that. I think it's muchly reduced now. I think if you're on a mobile phone, you can pretty much go live anywhere, but for the PC-based software, they do ask that you have a minimum number of subscribers. If you click on go live, it will bring you to this page here. Let's just get me out of the way. And this is basically going to ask you for your monetization settings. Yes, I'm going to monetize that. Let YouTube do it, and it's balanced or aggressive. And this is only going to affect you if you're monetized. Let's hit save on that. Now, here's what you need to know. Now, it's going to ask you basically for your RTMP stream, which is the information here. You're going to copy this into OBS Studio if you want to broadcast from OBS Studio. And then it's going to give you a password. My password's hidden. I'm not going to click on show password, otherwise people will be able to go live on my video channel. I'm not going to do that. But that's basically your information that you're going to need there. You can basically copy that information out of there and go across then to OBS Studio. And in OBS Studio, if you click on Start Streaming, it's going to ask you for the streaming key and your password. And when you click on Start Streaming, that's where you're going to put them in. If you streamed before, it's going to have that information saved, which I have it saved in. But here's the thing, if you've never gone live before, YouTube is going to say to you that you need to have at least 24-hour wait so they can verify your channel's real. They don't want to kind of like give anyone who just started a channel in the past 24 hours the ability to go live and start spewing nonsense. They want kind of like established, verified viewers who can go live. That doesn't mean you have to pay extra for it. Doesn't mean you need to go through some intense verification process. They're just going to make sure that you are who you say you are, and that way if you start spouting kind of weird conspiracy nut theory lies or anything, that they can give you a slap on the wrist. But yeah, if you've never gone live before, you might have to wait 24 to 48 hours before YouTube actually tells you, yeah, 2 thumbs up, you can go live. So that's how to go live in a nutshell. I mean, all the settings are there on your YouTube account. You just need to copy them, put them into OBS Studio. You need to connect your GoPro camera, whether that's through USB-C or HDMI. HDMI preferred. Pay attention to the settings that I gave you for the camera, because if you're in a low light environment, and you probably don't have a lot of very bright studio lighting around you, then pay attention to those settings. It's going to clean up your image immensely. So is there anything else you should know about going live? Well, yeah, there's a couple of things. Number one, try and have a script or a list of bullet points that you want to talk about. The very last thing you want to do is click on go live and then be kind of, the weather's nice. I mean, come on, that's absolutely terrible. You want to be able to convey a message. You want to be able to talk to your viewers. That's why it's good to have a Q&A session, because basically viewers can submit their questions in advance and you can have a list of answers all prepared, ready to talk to your viewers. The other thing is be careful about music that you play in your background. It's nice to have some music going in the background, but make sure it's not copyrighted music. That could get your video taken down, it could get your live stream cut off, it could even get your channel suspended or deleted, depending on how severe the case of copyright infringement is. YouTube Music Library basically gives you hundreds, if not thousands, of free tracks that you can use. So go there, check them out, download some of the songs, have a playlist in the background if you want music going in the background. But check those audio levels first. You don't want music drowning out your voice. And same with copyrighted images, or if you're showing clips, you don't want to use like TV shows or cartoons, especially anything by Disney, because they really do crack down. But yeah, basically those are kind of like common sense tips. Just don't infringe copyright if you're going live on YouTube. Also, I would say don't reveal any personal information. Don't talk about your bank details. Don't start like accessing your accounts, doing a screen capture and showing passwords and stuff. Obviously, don't do anything like that. Don't talk about your mailing address and everything. Just you know, keep common sense tips in mind when you go live on YouTube, and that's why I say have a script and bullet points to talk about, because at least that way it's going to keep you focused and it's going to keep you on track. So that's it, folks. You can go live with your GoPro camera in a plethora of ways, and yeah, it will take some setup to kind of balance out the lighting, get rid of that noise from the image and everything. That's why I also prefer using a very expensive web camera. The one I use, the Kaio Razor Ultra Pro, or is it the Razor Kaio Ultra Pro? It's one or the other, but you know, too many names in there. But it's got a very large sensor, works excellently in low light, even at 60 frames per second or in HDR. Yeah, it costs about the same as a GoPro, and it's only got one use, and that's as a webcam. But as I always say, use the proper tool for the job. If you have a GoPro, there's no reason you can't use it as a webcam, as you've just seen, but it does require more setup because it's got a small sensor, so therefore you're going to require a lot of light. Don't forget, you can also go live with your GoPro using the GoPro app, and that means you can actually live stream on the go, pardon the pun. But the thing is, that tends to be a very low bit rate, so you're going to get a lot of compression artifacts. The sound's not going to be great. It's not going to be as good as if you're sitting here, have it hooked up to a PC with some really, really good bandwidth available to you. You know, so just little things like that. But in the meantime, I hope you found this video useful. I'm sorry I couldn't walk you through all the settings, especially for setting up. For me, it's just a case of you'll figure it out. It's easy enough to do. Just make sure you're verified to go live on YouTube first. And the simple way to do that is get onto a PC, go to YouTube and click that go live button, and it will tell you whether or not you're eligible to go live or if you have to wait for that 24 or 48 hour period. Don't immediately try and go live, because you're going to be disappointed if you've never gone live before, because like I said, you're not authorized yet. It does take 24 to 48 hours for that to happen. So hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it useful, and if you did, click those like and subscribe buttons, and until next time, cheerio. So people have asked me, why do I like making these videos? The fact is, I really enjoy helping troubleshoot people with issues they have with their cameras. I also enjoy doing reviews to help you decide whether or not a product is worth purchasing if it will suit you for your needs. Now, this does get pretty expensive and tiring, so if you want to help out with this channel, use the Buy Me a Coffee link down below. You can buy me a coffee, keep me caffeinated, I will keep me awake long enough to make these videos and hopefully include better jokes, and you can just use it as an excuse to say hi or thanks for these videos. So hey, buy me a coffee, keep me awake.